All right, let's jump right into this explainer by visualizing a deeply relatable scenario. Before we get into the ultimate consistency hack itself, we really need to talk about the problem. Picture this. It's 1 a.m., you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, completely wide awake. And your brain? Well, it's playing a high-definition blockbuster movie of your absolutely perfect, successful future life. You know the one. You're imagining that dream job, the startup you've been putting off, looking incredibly fit, having this amazing circle of friends, making fantastic money, the whole shebang. In your head, you literally have everything you wish for. You are absolutely conquering your world, and man, it feels incredible, doesn't it? But let's fast forward just a few hours. The sun comes up, your alarm goes off, and what actually happens? Why do those brilliant, inspiring late-night plans completely fall apart by morning? Instead of jumping out of bed ready to conquer the world, you just hit snooze. You grab your phone instead of getting up, and suddenly, almost by accident, you're doom scrolling. The first 2 hours of your day simply vanish into thin air. Look, you don't lack ideas. You have a plan. You even have the right mindset, right? So why on earth can't you follow through for more than 4 days in a row?
To answer that, we really have to look under the hood at how our brains actually work. There's this massive myth out there that simply dreaming big is always a net positive. But let's look at the actual brain chemistry here, the fake reality versus real life. The crazy reality is that your subconscious mind literally cannot distinguish between the fake reality of imagining your dreams and the real life execution of them. It just can't. Your brain operates primarily on visuals. So when you're lying there at 1 a.m. cooking up these incredibly vivid images of your success, your brain genuinely thinks it is actually happening in real time.
And this right here creates a biological consequence known as the dopamine trap. When you visualize all that incredible success, your brain releases a massive wave of dopamine. It signals your body, essentially saying, wow, this is amazing, we did it. You get that absolute peak feeling of success without moving a single muscle. You're getting the ultimate reward without any of the friction of actual work. But then morning arrives. You actually have to open the laptop or go to the gym or execute the plan, and your body violently resists it. Why? Because your body is saying, wait a second, we just had this amazing feeling last night without doing literally any work. Let's just do that again instead of doing the hard stuff. You aren't failing because you're lazy, you're failing because you are chemically addicted to the fantasy of success rather than the actual struggle of reality. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates the real definition of procrastination. It is an emotional regulation issue, not a time management issue. We so often think, oh, I just need a better calendar, or I'll definitely just do it tomorrow. No, more than half the time when you sit down to do a task, you aren't actually running away from the task itself. You are running from the negative feelings associated with doing it. For example, if you sit down to study math and you procrastinate, it's usually because you've told yourself you aren't good enough at math. You're running from that uncomfortable feeling of confusion, the deep fear of not being capable, or the dread that even if you work really hard, you might still fail. And that fear, it triggers a vicious cycle, the guilt loop. When you sit down to work, a wave of negative thoughts pops up. Because your body is already addicted to that fake dopamine from your 1 a.m. fantasies, it immediately demands a quick fix. So you open your phone and scroll. You waste time. But wasting time generates a profound, heavy sense of guilt. And guilt is an emotion that operates on a very low negative frequency. So to lift yourself out of that horrible sinking feeling of guilt, your body desperately seeks more cheap dopamine, which causes you to waste even more time just to soothe yourself. It's a complete trap. Okay, so let's move to the solution. Section 1, the Okot framework, a 3-step psychological shift. First off, we have to accept that watching another 100 motivational videos is never, ever going to cure that guilt loop. Motivation is just a feeling, and feelings are fleeting. True success requires a fundamental shift in your psychology. So here is the somewhat shocking first rule of the framework. Kill your big dream. Seriously, take that massive $1 million dream, the one about conquering the entire world, and just throw it in the trash for the next 6 months. Why? Because the distance between your current actual reality and that massive goal is so giant that it literally paralyzes your brain. Your brain cannot bridge the massive gap between where you are today and that colossal fantasy, so it just doesn't even know where to start. You have to stop feeding your brain a reality that simply doesn't match your present. Which leads us perfectly into step 2. Lower the bar until it feels incredibly stupid. I'm serious. If your goal is to read a book, do not set a goal to read 20 pages a day. Your brain will hear that, get tired immediately, and you just won't do it.
Instead, set a goal to read just one single line. If you want to start working out, your goal shouldn't be a grueling 1-hour intense workout. Your goal should be to simply put on your gym clothes and stretch for 5 minutes. You have to make the goals so ridiculously, laughably small that your brain absolutely cannot say no to them. So, the crucial point to understand here is this: kill the resistance. The true objective of setting that stupidly low goal isn't to actually just read one line or just put on gym clothes. The real goal is assassinating that initial mental friction, that annoying little voice that says, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'm too tired today. Consistently beating that resistance is what builds true consistency. And here is the absolute magic of it. If you open a book just to read one line, you're probably going to read the whole page. If you put on your gym clothes, you're probably going to say, well, I'm already dressed, I might as well go. By overcoming the initial friction, you let natural momentum take over.
Now, step 3 is essential, mostly because, well, you're human and you are going to mess up. Introducing the 5-minute forgiveness protocol. When you are trying to build consistency, you will fail at some point. You'll break your streak. It happens. When it does, you must stop the intense self-criticism. Beating yourself up is actually just another sneaky form of ego, saying things like, ugh, I used to be such a great student, why can't I do this now? Drop the ego. Accept that you messed up. Give yourself exactly 5 minutes to feel bad and forgive yourself completely, and then on the 6th minute, get right back to work without carrying any lingering guilt in your head. Take yourself a little less seriously, and you'll escape the heavy weight of that regret.
Let's transition to the final and, honestly, perhaps the most vital piece of this whole puzzle. Section 2, the boredom threshold, the secret weapon of the 1%. We live in a world that just constantly demands excitement. Even if you don't drink or smoke, you are highly likely addicted to constant stimulation. We want fast food, endless games, perfectly edited bite-sized videos, constant scrolling. We demand something totally new every 2 seconds. But here is the ultimate, unglamorous truth. Success is boring. It really is. The top athletes in the world, they follow the exact same routines every single day. Some literally eat the exact same boring meals day in and day out. The top billionaires and business leaders, they sit in the exact same highly boring meetings every single day. If you genuinely want to achieve greatness, you have to embrace the mundane. You have to actively train yourself to be deeply, comfortably bored. So how exactly do we do that? By using the 10-minute rule. When you sit down to do that boring, repetitive work, your brain is going to send out a desperate distress signal. It'll scream, this is boring, open Instagram, watch a show, give me something exciting right now. Now, 99.9% of people surrender to that thought instantly. Your job is to recognize that thought and force yourself to sit with that urge for exactly 10 minutes without taking action on it. Just 10 minutes. If you can just hold out, that intense craving for distraction will naturally start to subside, and your focus will return. You might have to do this 10 times a day at first, but that is exactly how the muscle is built.
And this brings us to the actual reality of the 1%. Look, there is no secret superpower. The people who have actually conquered their goals are not walking around flooded with boundless motivation 24/7. In fact, they are often deeply demotivated because they carry so much pressure and have so much on the line. But they succeed anyway, simply because they have built a massive capacity to embrace boredom. They endure the mundane, unglamorous day-to-day work, regardless of how they feel in the moment. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on their incredibly high boredom threshold. Which leaves us with a final, absolutely crucial question for you. Are you just addicted to the fantasy of success, or are you truly ready for the reality of the struggle? It's time to make a choice. Stop dreaming in high definition at 1 a.m. Lower the bar, kill the resistance, forgive your failures, and embrace the boring. So what's the one stupidly low bar you're going to set for yourself today? Start right there and just see where the momentum takes you.